My name is Marissa Aho, and I'm the Chief Resilience Officer for Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti. Super excited to be with you this afternoon, and really excited to introduce you to some of my colleagues today. I have some slides, I'll go into them in a little bit, but just wanted to highlight that today, and this session is the very first time that we've been able to put together a departmental chief resilience officer session, and that's because before March of this year, we didn't have departmental chief resilience officers. And so with me today are 4 of the 30 or so departmental chief officers that we have at the City of Los Angeles. And I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I don't want to spoil part of their presentations about who they are and what they do, and just quickly give you a little bit of a highlight. Some of you have heard this a few times, so apologies, about sort of the resilience evolution that's been going on under Mayor Garcetti's leadership at the City of Los Angeles, and one of the things that we're sort of most excited about this week. So Mayor Garcetti talks about resilience as a value that guides everything that we do in Los Angeles, and that really shows in the fact that we have a lot going on related to resilience, multiple plans, the departmental chief resilience officers, and a whole host of other people who are working on these efforts on behalf of the city. And you all know, but I think we're constantly reminded about why this work is so important. And as Chief Resilience Officer, if I don't give you my definition of resilience, I'm not doing my job. So resilience is the capacity to survive, adapt, and thrive in the face of chronic stresses and acute shocks, and to even transform when conditions require it. And that's something that we take to heart in everything we do. And of course, we just celebrated the 4-year anniversary of Resilience by Design that was released by Mayor Garcetti, Seismic Safety Task Force. Raise your hand if you were on that task force. And excellent. And Dr. Lucy Jones, who was at the mayor's office for that year. And it focuses on, I think you know this, buildings, water, and telecommunications. Happy to report that we now have 1,500 soft-story buildings that have been retrofitted in the City of Los Angeles. They house 21,000 units, so that's 21,000 households that are safer because of this collective work. I'm going to skip water because Craig's here. And with telecom, I have a little bit of a slideshow on the Shake Alert LA app, so we'll save that as well. But advancement of earthquake early warning was one of the things that we committed to in 2014, and we've continued to do that work. Earlier this year, in March of 2018, or I guess this is the first time I've said this, in 2019. In 2018, Mayor Garcetti released Resilient Los Angeles, and this was in partnership with 100 Resilient Cities, the Rockefeller Foundation that brought my position, and this was approximately a 2-year effort with so many partners to look at resilience and really build upon the work that was done by Resilience by Design and incorporate other aspects of resilience, multi-hazard, interdisciplinary, looking at both our shocks and stresses and how they relate to each other. And so the 5 areas are leadership and engagement, disaster preparedness and recovery, economic security, climate adaptation, and infrastructure modernization, prioritizing our most vulnerable people, places, and systems. And we looked at all of these shocks and stresses. I'm not going to go into them, but there's a lot. And we looked to find actions in the strategy. There are 96 of them that solve for more than one of these things at the same time. And so there are 4 chapters. Chapter 1 is Safe and Thriving Angelenos. Chapter 2 is Strong and Connected Neighborhoods. Chapter 3 is Prepared and Responsive City. Chapter 4 is Pioneering and Collaborative Partner. And so within these 4 chapters are 15 goals and 96 actions. And of course, when Mayor Garcetti released the Resilient Strategy, he also signed Executive Directive 22, which asks each of the departments to use Resilient Los Angeles as a strategic planning tool, to integrate it into their budgets, to integrate it into the performance reviews of our general managers, and then, of course, my favorite part, to appoint departmental chief resilience officers in most of our departments. And so again, these chapters are really about how do we make sure that everybody knows that they have a role to play in resilience, from the household level, which is chapter 1, to recognizing that in a city the size of Los Angeles, the shocks and stresses that communities face are very different on a block scale or on a neighborhood scale, and we need to integrate those ideas into how we're looking at our neighborhoods and our blocks. And then how does the city solve for more than one thing given limited resources and a whole lot of space and infrastructure? How do we use technology? How do we use a once-in-a-generation investment in infrastructure that we're seeing through multiple bond measures and a whole lot of money being invested? How do we do it right? How do we do it so that it lasts for longer? And then how do we look beyond our borders at the city to partner with neighboring jurisdictions, the region, the state, the nation, and then how do we look outside of government to partner with all of you, nonprofit organizations, academia, private sector, and so on. And because I have limited time, as do the rest of our panelists, and I'm going pretty fast, one of these actions was to launch an earthquake early warning system. And there was a target to bring early warning technology to Angelenos by the end of 2018. And on December 31st of 2018, the App Store was populated with, nothing like a deadline, Shake Alert LA. And so earlier we celebrated the Great Shakeout this year at Los Angeles by having the first public building to pilot Shake Alert be City Hall. And so that's currently going on. And then additionally, Shake Alert LA was released in December and launched officially January 3rd. It's a USGS pilot with the mayor's office, our ITA department, EMD, Rob's here, and AT&T. It was funded by the Annenberg Foundation and a little help from the mayor's fund for LA. And it was tested with our first responders and city staff who contributed to multiple phases of its development. And as of this week, there have been 373,000 downloads, and I hope more in a few minutes. So the Shake Alert LA app issues warnings for a magnitude 5.0 or level 4 intensity MMI. And it's for all of LA County in English and Spanish, Apple and Android. And it looks like this. And it has both preparedness information about what to do in advance, as well as recovery information. Going quickly, apologies. But now it's available, so you can see it. Recovery information that includes open shelters for the city after an earthquake, so people know where to go and what to do. So with that, there's a lot more. That's one of 96 things that we're doing. There's a lot more at lamayor.org/resilience, but I really want you all to hear from all of our department representatives.